In the Lord's commandment to the people of this day, tithing is 1/10 of all their interest annually, which is understood to mean income. The First Presidency has said no one is justified in making any other statement than this. We pay tithing, as the Savior taught, by bringing the tithes into the storehouse. We do this by paying our tithing to our bishop or branch president. We do not pay tithing by contributing to our favorite charities. The contributions we should make to charities come from our own funds, not from the tithes we are commanded to pay to the storehouse of the Lord. The Lord has directed by revelation that the expenditure of his tithes will be directed by his servants, the First Presidency, the Quorum of the 12, and the presiding bishopric.
And they shall pay 1/10 of all their interest annually, and this shall be a standing law unto them forever. The Lord clearly directed how tithing should be dispersed, saying, "Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse," meaning bring the tithes into his restored kingdom, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He directed that the use of these sacred tithes would be prayerfully considered by a council of the First Presidency, the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, the presiding bishopric, and by mine own voice unto them, saith the Lord.
Some time ago, I was speaking to a meeting of church leaders in a country outside of North America. As I spoke about tithing, I found myself saying something I had not intended to say. I told them the Lord was grieved that only a small fraction of the members in their nations relied on the Lord's promises, and paid a full tithing. I warned that the Lord would withhold material and spiritual blessings when his covenant children were not keeping this vital commandment. I hope those leaders taught that principle to the members of the stakes and districts in their countries. The law of tithing and the promise of blessings to those who live it apply to the people of the Lord in every nation. I hope our members will qualify for the blessings of the Lord by paying a full tithing.
The mandate given by the First Presidency and the presiding bishopric is to only focus on financial growth. EPA employees are told that the money will be used after the second coming of Jesus Christ or during Armageddon right before he would come again.
One of our brethren some years ago spoke of the payment of tithing as fire insurance. Nonetheless, the word of the Lord is clear that those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming. For that shall be a day of judgment, a day of sifting, a day of separating the good from the evil. I would venture a personal opinion that no event has occurred in all the history of the earth as dreadful as will be the day of the second coming, as fraught with the destructive forces of nature, as consequential for the nations of the earth, as terrible for the wicked, and as wonderful for the righteous.
Not only that, tithing will keep your name enrolled among the people of God and protect you in the day of vengeance and burning.
For the first time, we have an idea now of how much the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Big Investment Fund performed over the course of a year.
That fund is called Ensign Peak Advisors, and Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle found the public document showing how many billions of dollars it gained in 2020.
Over the last year, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has been more forthcoming about how it's investing tithing money. This latest filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission shows that despite the economic downturn of the pandemic, the church's big investment fund made money. This filing with the SEC shows the holdings of Ensign Peak Advisors at the end of 2020. When added all up, it shows the fund gained more than $6 billion in one of the most difficult financial years in American history.
This big sell-off in the last 24 hours. How are the markets doing this morning, some 30 minutes now into trading?
Hey there, Anna. Good morning to you. Kind of a mixed start to the trading day right now. The S&P just slightly higher right now. The Dow down more than 100 points. The Nasdaq coming off its worst day since 2022. Bouncing back somewhat, up just about 0.5%, but that certainly isn't easing the concerns about the stock market that has lost. And I want you to make sure you're hearing this number correctly. $4 trillion of market value since its all-time high less than a month ago. I'm talking on February the 19th.
Travis, my good soul. So, again, I've got another breakout video. 2 of them. The one more than the other. The old one from last year was about Candace Owens and how the church is directly tied to it, because they're lying about the assassination. The video footage, which the defense doesn't want to have shown in the upcoming hearing, for which, did they see it? That direction. The shooter came from that direction. C2 vertebrae, dead. Okay, so where was Tyler Robinson, as they're claiming? That direction. How mentally retarded of a defense team, let alone a prosecution, do you have to be? So obviously there's a conspiracy going on. There's a cover-up. Tyler didn't do it. And he's rotting in jail while everybody plays games. So that video got a resurgence because somebody searched for it. She was in the news recently again, and so this time that old video was shown. And because somebody searched for it and clicked on it, it triggered the algorithms to get views. Whereas normally they make sure not to recommend my videos so that nobody will be searching for videos and therefore won't find my videos. Naughty people. You need to watch what YouTube orders you to watch. You are zombies to the machine. But the other one was brand new. And was a lead up. I ran the test from the scriptures. If you're a Nevermo, Exmo, the Bible, Matthew chapter 7, starting in verse 15, for false prophets. How do you know if somebody's true or false? Yeah, science. It's called agronomy, or husbandry for wolves and sheep, maybe, I don't know. Honey, why is our baby a wolf? Bah. Yeah, there's an MSN News that has an AI couple with an AI baby, and this couple gave birth to a baby and everybody's shocked. It's a white couple and the baby is black. Yeah, I wonder what they're trying to trigger there. White women cheat on their husbands with black men. You know, you click on it and you probably find out that it's in vitro fertilization and the doctor put the wrong in the woman. Nonetheless, who's your daddy? And so I've been, you know, if you're a Mormon, I use the restored gospel in 3 Nephi 14. You should know these scriptures if you're a Mormon. If you claim to be Mormon and you don't know your Mormonism, if you don't know your scriptures, if you don't know the church history because the church lies, then you're not a Mormon. You're a zombie for what the church wants you to watch. Not searching to learn for yourself. You got to know how to search. You can't just go to third-party authors who wrote down people's feelings and opinions from journal entries. You need to know the difference between hearsay and a primary source document. And dealing with church history, nobody wants to do it right. So 11,000 videos I've been showing you how to do it right. And YouTube's making sure I don't get breakout videos as best as they can in the special place they are. And so because the church prophets fail the test, Mormons are in denial, and so they make up excuses. Well, I felt good about him, so you can't judge me. The restored gospel? Hello? We can judge. You judged wrong. It's not about praying to get the right feeling. Where did you see prayer in planting a seed and producing fruit? Dear God, Mormons, you just make it so easy to expose you as stupid. A whole bunch of memes follow. Dear God. So no, prophets aren't telling you the truth. They're lying to you. I mean, hey, they're laughing about how you pray to get the right feeling rather than run the scientific test from the Bible even. And thus, why I rip these prophets to shreds in all my videos. And it serves a multiple effect because my audience is so varied. You have those, numerous. I can't cater to one type of person. And it's hilarious, all the people over the 11,000 videos in 10,000 years who say how they know how to get me views. They know how to run my channel. And wait, you don't have any videos of your own? Yeah, it's real simple. Those who are guilty are offended. Mormons are easily offended because they're guilty. So yes, I purposely trigger Mormons' angry emotions with the intent purpose of making them choose to humble themselves with the shock that they're evil, or to embrace their evilness and own it. And so sure enough, tell a Mormon they're wicked, and they prove it to you every single time. But my focus is on saving your lives. Thus the separation from the wheat and the tares. Mormons choose to be tares. I'm finding very few people that want to be wheat. If you don't know, that's from the scriptures. Talking about the latter days and the gathering. The world is facing an extermination threat. Joseph Smith tried to warn you. tried to let you know that the Book of Mormon is warning you of this threat of extermination of mankind. Thus the need for the gathering. I have been condemning Oakes for his neglect of duty as the president of the church, and condemning him. If it's because you're unfit for the job, step down. If it's because you're near death, step down. But if it's because you are fully competent and fit, that therefore you're just pure evil, with all of the Mormons who are suffering, and despite how long you think you've been in the church and how much of an expert you are in Mormonism, what is tithing for? Not what the church says it is, what the scriptures say it's for. Well, section 119 says it's for Jesus, Travis. No, the scriptures, Malachi, Book of Mormon, section 42 by Joseph Smith, not the forged document by Brigham Young in section 119. Forged? The church isn't involved with forged documents. You forgot Mark Hoffman, haven't you, on purpose, hoping he went away? How do you know when a forged document is being presented before the living prophets of Jesus? Well, obviously it has a salamander. Trying to talk about how they don't have authority. He had them by the balls, and he was ripping them off. And he blew it by trying to cover it all up and hide it with bombs. You dumbass. It's almost as dumbassery as the billionaire James Huntsman who went and called tithing a donation to lose his case. Oh my hell. Yeah. We all know the church lies about church history. And part of that lie is forged documents. Not just altering the interpretation of them, turning them into literal histories when they clearly said vision. Oh, well, literal history is vision, so it's literal history. I'm stupid. Dear God. I mean, and for Mormons, are you stupid or are you just evil? Threatening other people to believe the lie. This is just appalling from my church that I was born and raised in the covenant of. What the hell is wrong with you guys? You're supposed to be a religion, first and foremost. But then to lie and to spread the lies of the church? To enforce the prophets as true no matter what they say? Oh, I found a journal entry in the Joseph Smith papers from the Danites who were cooing Joseph Smith and had him murdered, who said that exact same thing. We obey the living prophets of Jesus whether they're right or wrong. We're cleansing Joseph Smith and his church. We are white supremacist Christian nationals, and that's why we're racist, sexist, bigoted, the whole xenophobic thing. Old school evil. And here my own people are the only ones who commit crimes against me to shut me up when I'm saying, hey, the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are true. trying to save your lives. There's an extermination event coming. We're waiting for Jesus. The first vision, Joseph Smith. It says it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Remember that forged document about how the church doesn't have authority from a salamander? You chose wrong. Go back and pray again to get the wrong feeling. Now it's right. Since you don't know how to use science from the scriptures. So yes, I'm trying to gather Mormons to Zion for your safety, peace, and refuge. You know, scriptures, what you refuse to study. And I have no clue what I'm talking about. What are you talking about? Scriptures? You ever read them? Oh, Travis, you're an anti-Mormon. You're the anti-Mormon. You have denied Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon. You have created other alternative interpretations that are contrary to the words written in the text. Dear God. Well, Moroni chapter 10 says spiritual witness feelings. No, it didn't. It says manifest the truth, dumbasses. Science. Produce the fruit. Get to the consequences, the results. Don't just hold the word in your hand and say, see, I've got the word, it's so true. Believe it or die. God, a bunch of Nazis. Yeah, Moroni and the swastika. You probably don't know about that, even though multi-thousands do. That's also disturbing, is that there are people who have been viewed very popularly. And so when I talk about it, people play dumb. You know, like Oaks is getting leaked in 2020. Hundreds of thousands know about it. And despite reusing it in every single video, I used it wrong, I guess. Oaks isn't saying that he's the causation of Armageddon. Because if you're able to run a test, you're the cause. That's the whole point of running a test. You're the causation. How can you guys miss this and get angry with me for it when he said it? Do you not understand that that makes Oaks evil? So yes, I call him out for failing to save Mormon lives. And I use the various scriptures to tie it in, to trigger you to go, oh, he's violating the scriptures. Oh, I'm in the wrong church. Nope. Clueless. Like the ICE agents being in that meeting with Holman that I saw this morning. Something called SNL Cold Case. Cold Open. Yeah, that level of stupidity. Dear God. So yeah, the gathering. The latter days are over with. Oaks ran a test run in 2020. And so he purposely delayed everything. We're late. And as a result, people are dying, people are suffering, people's lives are getting ruined, all because of Oaks. And it just breaks my heart, because those people didn't even get the opportunity to choose to want to come and live in Zion. They were denied because of Oaks and his evil. And what's going to happen now? Mormons just refuse to see reality as it is, to refuse to blame the church for their sufferings, because the church tells you you got to pull yourselves up by your own bootstraps. Bishop storehouses are supposed to be for the poor, and every single bishop's supposed to have one. Remember Malachi, section 42? Even if you don't know those scriptures, which if you don't know Malachi, oh dear God. If I say, you have robbed God, and you don't know that it comes from Malachi, or when I say, oh, the windows of heaven are open today, and you don't know where I'm getting that from, oh yeah, it was Lorenzo Snow when he gave that conference talk in St. George. No, it was a BYU movie that, yes, Oaks turned into scripture of literal history. Just, oh my God. Former Utah Supreme Court Justice Dallin Harris Oaks called Dallas with his new name, becoming the president of the church by Anderson. God. Campus police spying controversy? Oh! This is what led to the Strengthening Church Members Committee that you were put on. So career, BYU president. Well, let's go over this. It doesn't say of your prosecutor position. Before and during Oaks' time as president of BYU, campus police routinely used undercover agents and a polygraph Is the church the only true church on the face of the earth? Yes. To investigate honor code violations. Oh my God. In 1975, the university began a program to reduce the number of alleged homosexuals on campus. I've got what you call gaydar. Which included interrogating men in fine arts and trauma protections. Oh my God. The Red Scare. Disney is evil. They're all communists. But they supported Hitler. Taking down license plates at gay bars. one that the tornado struck, dear God, and cross-referencing them with student license plates. Yeah, making a blacklist. The good old days of blacklisting. And searches of dorms and other student housing units, which took place without bona fide search warrants. It's a BYU campus. They can do whatever they want. They're exempt from the laws of the land and your rights. When asked about the program by reporters, Oakes acknowledged the activities in general terms as a silver-tongued lawyer would. BYU Public Relations stated that the program ended once Oakes became aware of its existence. So yeah, that's why he was put into the Strengthening Church Members Committee. Yep. So yeah, in this Utah Supreme Court. So, what about Family Works? They removed it? So let's see if career, yeah, it had career. Okay. Became a professor at the University of Chicago Law School, so he knows law because he taught it. Faculty of Law School, Oakes served as an interim dean. During this time, Rexy Lee was among the students. Clerkships, for whom he sought to obtain a Supreme Court clerkships. Okay. Graduating from law school in '57. Spent a year as a law clerk. Justice Warren. After his clerkship, he entered private practice. Yeah, he is a prosecutor. That's how you are a part of a firm. You're a prosecutor. He was a prosecutor for Kirtland and Ellis. Corporate litigation. How to protect the church? By knowing how to prosecute other corporations. Interesting. Yeah, I see what's going on. Worked with this law firm twice before, first during a summer in law school and then a few months before he began his clerkship with Justice Warren. When Oakes began, he worked under the Borg, but he was quickly appointed as the firm's principal lawyer's prosecutor and a student of law and a Utah Supreme Court justice. Yeah. So this makes it worse that he's illiterate. So, yeah, I've shown you the video. He's the one that talks about church authority, corporate authority, priesthood authority, and he gets it all wrong. He talks correctly, but in practice, he gets it all wrong. And the one thing is on tithing that I've been ripping him to shreds for, not just his authority, that he has none. Because how do you get authority? Well, from somebody who has it. So go back the chain of priesthood authority to Brigham Young, the president of the 12, after the incident with Thomas B. Marsh, for which he did his affidavit to the governor of Missouri, and the church lies about that, saying he was defending his wife's honor and Joseph Smith excommunicated him, and so as a disgruntled Mormon, he then did the affidavit. No, you forgot the Danite document that you put in the Joseph Smith papers confessing that he was still the president of the 12 when the Danites took him to Gallatin. And told him for the first time that there was a church in Adamant, with the bishop's storehouse for Jesus and not the poor this time. That's why he left. The affidavit was his "I'm out." And both Hinckley and Monson lie. And so yes, this tithing thing, not just authority, Oakes botches. Because, oh man, we're way off topic. Section 120, put in the year before Brigham Young died. And he put it after Section 119 that Brigham Young created, manufactured, for his 1844, after we just murdered the founder of Mormonism, Doctrine and Covenants. And so they purposely intended people to believe that this is referring to Section 119. Verily, thus saith the Lord, the time is now that it... they left it out. Bruce R. McConkie put it in the chapter headings for us. This is making known the disposition of the properties tithed as named in the preceding revelation. The original document has that. Joseph Smith says, as previously revealed, and he repeats it, of who is in this council in each ward with a bishop for tithing. Section 42, not Section 119. And so verily thus saith the Lord, the time is now that it, tithing, shall be disposed of by a council composed of the first presidency of my church. You got to understand there were very few wards back then. And so Joseph Smith was over all of them. And the bishop and his council. So every church established has a bishop. And the first presidency is in charge of all of them. And so the bishop and his council. Can you imagine how much better the world would be if the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints followed Joseph Smith rather than trying to manipulate the scriptures to make excuses not to save lives, heal the world? And so Oakes, and I also caught Anderson doing the same thing, saying the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. They said they're quoting, and as they're quoting, they then say, and the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Are you illiterate or are you evil? And by my high council. Because the high council ain't the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Even Brigham knew this. That's why he made the changes. A former prosecutor who is educated, degreed, passed the bar, licensed, experienced at a firm, as a prosecuting attorney for corporations committing crime, was a professor of law, and was on the Utah Supreme Court, and was recommended but denied becoming SCOTUS twice. And he can't tell the difference between the High Council and the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. What the hell? So we're just going to stand up for whatever he says because he's the living prophet of Jesus now? This should be a game ender for all Mormonism. The Quorum of the 12 Apostles are the mission presidents, sending out the missionaries. That's as far as their authority goes. They're supposed to preach the Book of Mormon as written, not what you alter it to. Because I keep repeating that over in these 11,000 videos and people still aren't getting it. Even when I put in Benson's conference talk on it, the missionaries under Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball in 1832, converted since April when they joined, in September, Joseph Smith was finding out that they were not preaching the Book of Mormon. New converts are joining the church without the Book of Mormon. And he says, you put the whole church under condemnation. The whole church is for the Book of Mormon, not for Christianity. They refused to listen. So in December, Joseph Smith comes out with Section 86 and says, you're apostates. You are converting people to the wrong church to overthrow this church. So in 1836, Joseph, the seer, prophet, revelator, and translator, keys of Moses to be the head of the church, with the Book of Mormon, and now a temple, calls for the gathering of the saints in similitude of the Latter-day gathering. Because that's his whole job as the founder, to prepare Mormons for the latter days, thus Latter-day Saints, as the name of the church. Changed in 1834 by a vote that was unanimous. Not Joseph going rogue. Remember forged documents? Thomas B. Marsh's affidavit exposes all the forged documents. So the Mormons gather, even the ones falsely converted. And so these falsely converted Mormons come to Kirtland, and they're in shock. And they don't handle it very well. They thought they were Christian. Jesus. And you've got a Book of Mormon, you've got a prophet, seer, revelator, and translator who has the keys of Moses, and a temple, and we're not even Christian, it's the Latter-day Saints. Trying to sneak in Jews with the house of Israel? Yeah, they were furious. Because that was the whole plan of Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball with their converts, to destroy Joseph Smith's church. And yeah, they got those new converts to try to assassinate Joseph and Sidney Rigdon, who had to flee Kirtland for Missouri. And the church even calls it the Kirtland apostasy. And so they left the church and formed their own Christian church. And so in 1838, very next year of 1837, phase 2 of the Brigham Heber operation took place. The Danites. Their whole operation confessed to cleansing Joseph Smith's church. Having converted them wrong, trying to see who would still be loyal when they found out that Joseph Smith is Jewish. I mean, House of Israel Jewish. You know, the Book of Mormon, pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish Egyptians. Right there at the beginning of the Book of Mormon, and you all missed it. Oh, Jesus, we're Christian. Even after the Pope came out last year and confessed, yeah, we're the great and abominable church of Constantine. Yeah, we're that feet of iron of Rome mingled with Christian clay, of spiritual witness, feelings, strength. We shattered. Yeah, that Christianity that Joseph Smith warned you of. Remember that first vision, verse 19, that as missionaries you all skip and don't tell your investigators, shh, we're not going to tell you that you're evil. Because we're Christian too. Yeah, but it's not Christian, is it? It's a neo-Christian creation abomination. And that's what they did to Joseph Smith. So their whole religion was exposed by Thomas B. Marsh in his affidavit. And that's why they altered the scriptures of Joseph Smith to lead Mormons astray. And it's simple. Is Oakes telling the truth about who's in charge of tithing? No, he's not. He's lying. The whole church is founded on the 12 apostles. And they're not allowed to touch tithing. They're not allowed to touch the temple. They're not allowed to touch anything. They have no authority. Their one and only authority was to preach the Book of Mormon as written. No other interpretation, no other alteration. That's what they destroyed Joseph Smith's church with, and they're still doing it to this day. Deceiving everybody, lying about church history, lying about who they are, lying about their threat to the United States of America. And so I call him out with his own words. And he refuses to confess. With his own words, I condemn him. And he refuses to step down and hand it over to me so that I can save your lives. So that we can be in Zion while the rest of the world kills each other off until Shiz and Coriantumr are left. So that we can keep the human race going. And Oakes says no. Oakes wants death. Oakes is stealing money, not just robbing God. Oakes is destroying lives because he got leaked, saying, I'm causing Armageddon. And over 100,000 Mormons know it. And are refusing to be intelligent on this matter. So, yeah, I egged them on a week in advance. Oaks is failing to do his job. People are suffering. There are people whose lives have been burned, and he's not using tithing to help them. Make a pretty picture about how storehouses from Section 42 are supposed to be in every single bishop. Nope. Only 141 for over 30,000 congregations. And so all of the charity articles on the church news are to save money, as they suppose, to do investments, to get more money. Pure evil of this church. So I keep putting at the end of the picture video clips, at the beginning of my videos, to help understand the scriptures by the Spirit, as me as Charlton Heston, and Oaks is Joel Brenner now, because Nelson is dead. I can't use him anymore. But I used to. Mormons still don't get it. And so I've been using the Isaiah pictures. Mormons still don't get it. I'm giving it to you, and you still don't get it. Am I going to have to get even more simple with you? Show you from the passage in Isaiah, which is in the Book of Mormon, the restored gospel, and then show you the biblical Hebrew, and then show you the Paleo Hebrew, so that you understand what that X and A on its side is. Even though I have the picture of the solar eclipses behind it. How much more simple do I have to be so that Mormons can be intelligent enough to understand it? And I even did a new picture about how Jesus isn't real. He's the day and the hour of his coming. And you still don't get it. This is a level of stupidity that nobody has ever conceived of possibilities of. Can man really be this stupid? This is scary. Not even cult groups go to that extreme. Dear God, Mormons, stop. Just stop. What the hell? You're defending an indefensible religion, and you're just, oh my God. It's scary, literally scary, that you can't figure this out. God. Go back and find where Jacob is. 3 Nephi 7. Destroyed. Move on. Okay, verse 9. And so yeah, I don't remember what I posted in videos. And so with this breakout, I'm like, okay, it's only 8 minutes, so I can figure out what it was that I put in there. I watched it again last night. Took notes. And so, it's titled something like Oaks Quits. And transfers authority. Because that's the whole point. You know, Moses confronting Pharaoh, let my people go. Pharaoh says no. And then creeping death takes out the firstborn. Oh, okay, go. Transfer of authority. And then an Exodus. And then Zion. How hard is this? And so for that, I put in Nelson's conference talk about he's the expert on the gathering. And he's not. I didn't even have to use Paleo Hebrew to show you how he's wrong. Because the 2 Hebrew scholars working at BYU who put the wrong thing in the footnotes, because it's an IE, which means the Hebrew scholars who put it in there, which was Avraham Gileadi, was rejected. And the dumbass superintendent, or maybe even Bruce R. McConkie, put in IE. And this is what white supremacist Christian nationalists do to the Bible. Article of Faith number 8, Mormons. What's that? We believe the Bible to be the Word of God as far as it is translated correctly. And this church's official statement is, we are not seers, we are not prophets, we are not revelators, we are not translators, and we don't even claim the title of translator. And you can't figure it out? How stupid can you be? Even the 7 levels of hell never conceived of anything lower. Mormons did. Oh my hell. Or is it 12? I can't remember the number. It's used in conference talks. And so yes, the whole gathering is to gather Mormons to one location, Zion. And the church says, yeah, stay where you are, join the church and pay tithing to the Quorum of the 12 Apostles Board of Directors. Stay scattered. This is Armageddon that's coming, and the church has you scattered? You know, granted, I did the video yesterday about how that's part of their plot, is to take over the world after everybody is destroyed. So they can rise up and say, we are your Lord and Masters, 1984 sex crimes. We're in the Epstein files too, which I did forget to put in the Huntsman video, but nobody's watching that video. Doesn't matter. See, I have no idea what's going to be a breakout. You guys aren't making it clear for me. There's no pattern of my breakout videos. None. It's just a crapshoot. I have no clue. I just put out the videos. Nobody listens. And so I then go over the Spirit so that you can understand the scriptures and how to interpret them correctly. Going over Revelation with the Egyptian version that I've had for a much longer time than the new hotness of the Spirit as S-P-I-R-T, but without the I's, for seer, prophet, revelator, translator. Hoping that that would trigger your memory to bring you out of, dear God, how dark are you? That's the scripture. How great is that darkness? That's my favorite one from the Doctrine and Covenants. The light of the body is the eye. How great is darkness? 3. So there's the Matthew 6 version. Oh, go away from 3 Nephi 7 again. Do you even have it? Let's see. Light of the body is the eye, so 22. Okay, so it's not 4. Is it 59? No. I single to my glory. So 59 1A. Matt, oh, just, 63. No. God, who did these footnotes, Bruce? Section 84. But that's, no. Far, far away. 7, 4, 8. They don't put it in here. Why? So let's try the Restored Gospel version and see if they link us to it. 22, 88, 67, that's it. Yeah. If your eye be single to my glory, your whole body shall be filled with light, and there shall be no darkness in you. And the body which is filled with light comprehendeth all things. Is it in Matthew? Comprehendeth all things. That's the addition part. How great is that darkness? I guess it is in Matthew. Would help to read. Other than creating my own doctrines, I meant to do that. It's a teaching lesson. You know, like Sophie instead of Sophia. I meant to make a typing error, emphasizing the name. That's an inside joke between Idaho Chick and me. She's lucky. She has a new granddaughter. So cute. Light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness, Mormons? That's what we're using. Because look, 2 masters. Ooh, is Oaks the head of the church, or is Jesus the head of the church? I don't know. Are they the same person? Because Oaks speaks for Jesus. He's the master. Do you see how my associative memory works here? I'm thinking about light of the body and the darkness from unintelligent Mormons. And look, there's 2 masters. Let me write this down so I can remember. Matthew 6, 22, 23, 24. Because we can even use Oaks saying, I speak for Jesus. It's not 2 masters, it's Trinity masters. Oh my God. Ooh. 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 Yeah, I could do that. It would take time. We better hurry up and shut up. Oh my God. still want to get 3 Nephi 7 in, because this is a church or a news video. 9. Okay, at least I'm remembering it now. Constantly going back to it is helping me remember. And so, yeah, I go over the examples of the Book of Mormon, and Joseph Smith, Revelation 12, from 2 Nephi 3, section 103. You're supposed to look up these scriptures in case you don't know them off the top of your head. And you won't. And then I go over Isaiah, over the signs in the heavens for the house of Israel. And then, the latter-day signs in the heavens are for Mormons. Oh, we're the house of Israel. I don't understand. I'm stupid, and I graduated, got a degree in law. And so then I put in the new picture of Jesus as the solar eclipses. Because he's Emmanuel, remember? Oh, you didn't? You never understood why there's so much confusion and contradiction in Matthew chapter 1? And then Isaiah about Lucifer. He says he's a man in the text. He is not a supernatural deity. And you didn't catch it, huh? So then Isaiah for Emmanuel. And then Joseph Smith versus Brigham Young and the 2 churches. Another new picture that I revised for you, because I didn't want to go searching through the files to find the other one that I did. Jewish versus Christian. Technically pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish Egyptians. Jews referring to those who lived in Judah before Babylon conquered them. And then oaks. Signs in the heavens. Gotcha. Putting out the pictures of oaks as a ghost already. Shh, he's sleeping. And then the missing milk carton. Because Oaks is refusing to do his job. He's refusing to save Mormons' lives, or at least compensate them with tithing as they said they were going to do for the millennium. And they're not. They're hoarding the money for Jesus, and Jesus isn't real, and so who are they hoarding it for? To murder you. And so he comes out early to declare, I'm not dead yet. I'm speaking at BYU. Gotcha. He knows everything he does, everything he says, I'm waiting for. I'm way behind on his old conference talks. And he does it. Gotcha. And so, yes, all about the gathering of Israel, which is Mormons. He fell right into the Sears trap. And I milked it. and it became a breakout video. Because there's signs in the heavens that correspond with the scriptures about Israel and his brother Esau. Ta-da! Just like he fell for it by delaying becoming the president of the church, and I'm calling him out. Oh yeah, shutting it down, no more first presidency. I'm now the first president, Travis. Gotcha! There's Mars at the top of the scales of judgment. Ah! He falls for it every single time. And if you've forgotten, if you think, oh, he doesn't care about you, Travis, you're not significant. If you've forgotten the Strengthening Church Members Committee that he's in charge of, when it first was organized, hello? They spy on us. They download all of my video content. Wow, 11,000 videos and I don't know, 15, 20 terabytes. I don't know. They have to go over all of my video content and put it into file number 36434. And as I went over, I think it was yesterday also, Alyssa Grenfell, the church lets her go. And now she's popular worldwide. Church still lets her go because she's a woman, and so they can claim that she's just hysterical. They can claim that we're a religion. What is she doing? She's a disgruntled Mormon who, apostatized. So she's an apostate female, and she's attacking a religion, denying us our religious freedom. Andrew Tate talking about Candace Owens. Doesn't matter what she says, the conspiracy will still remain intact because everybody's just going to see her as an angry black woman. And the shooter gets away. That's the conspiracy. But me, they have to get physical with me. They have to get criminal with me. Because I go over the primary source documents. They are unable to debate me, and thus they have to commit crimes against me to shut me up. And I am horrified of all the Mormons who cave to commit crimes on their behalf. I've seen the damage they cause when you fail. They destroy your lives when you fail. They did it to my own brother. They did it to my parents. They assassinated my own mother. My brother works for the church. And they came to him when I got this apartment, and the two women who failed lost their jobs. There is a bigger picture that you don't see because you are not walking in my shoes. This church is far more evil than I talk about. I am a witness and a victim of this church. What they have done to me can never restore the damage of. And all I want is to save your lives. And I am not stopping. They have to murder me to stop me. And they've tried and they've failed. So what about you, Mormons, if you're still listening? You still gonna play dumb? So, ICE. Yeah, they're shooting cops too. They're arresting cops. They're arresting government officers. They don't care. It's not about illegals. It's about civil war, destroying America and handing it over to the church. And so they're purging the government still to shut down the regulations of the federal government. So with these latest investigations and prosecutions, there's a mass Department of Justice resignation going on. People are refusing to do their jobs. This is not what I'm a Department of Justice agent for. This is not America. I'm out. And so there's nobody left to hold the line against this administration that's handing over the government to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The people in their protests are now calling for impeachment, with the Epstein files being released especially. Trump doesn't have much time left. He's not going to make it to the midterms now. And he was threatened to hurry up because he is late. Because they were stupid enough to run a test run in 2020 instead of doing it then. I was on the top of my game that year. Into 2021. Even had a person, after it all happened, still deny that I called out the parting of the waters. He didn't see it and tried to play the dumbass. Because I called it out. The drought. I said in my videos, if it happens, because I didn't know about the leak yet. I didn't know it was just going to be a test run. It was supposed to be it. 3 Nephi 7 is 2020. This was supposed to be it. And so I come out as inspired, because there's no script. See, the video, I wrote that down after watching the video. This is not the script. I don't memorize. And so I was inspired. But it was a worst case scenario, because nobody's transferring anything to me, so I can put out the call to gather people. Church won't do it. So I said, worst case scenario, if everything hits the fan, if there are any survivors who are listening to this video, let's meet at the Green River overpass. And from there, we can then travel to Zion. That's just for the Utah and the immediate vicinity people. It's not for the world, because that's a scenario that, oh dear God. Because it's not up to me, it's up to Oaks now. He won't let you be saved. He's trying to murder you. Sending out missionaries and now lowering the age to 18 for girls. He's murdering you. Keeping you scattered to murder you. Art of war, divide and conquer. Scatter the people and you can conquer them easier. Because Mormons aren't smart enough to start up the church on their own. It'd just be from their experiences and then it'd be altered and twisted from what it actually is. I'm willing to bet nobody will have a handbook of instructions or the temple texts. And I've been doing these videos for you, and this is it. What I have told you was going to happen when all hell breaks loose. The church doesn't fall. They don't transfer authority to me so that I can take you guys in an exodus to Zion. This was the scenario I feared, and here it is. Mormons are doing their own Mormonism. Because the Oaks is gone. He's missing. Mormons are left to be the Mormons they want to be. And you're violating the church's rules in the process because you don't know them. Because how many of you are polygamists, active polygamists now? Did you know that the commandment was changed in the law of chastity to be a polygamist? And you're not obeying? Exactly. So when you suffer and die because they abandoned you, they then blame you. You weren't obeying us. We gave you commandments and you didn't obey us. You went and did your own thing. You cannot be trusted with agency, and so now we have to take it away from you. It's a trap. And so you're having Mormons who think that they are the head of the church as a social media influencer. Follow my channel, like and subscribe. I will lead you. I know what's going on. And they'll still claim Oaks is the head president. But this is how you get excommunicated by the church. You start telling the prophets how to do things. And they get you every time. Right, little Nemo? I saw it coming. Oh, yep. I don't give him much longer. Oh, John DeLynn interviewed him. Oh, he's toast. The Strengthening Church Members Committee followed John DeLynn too. And so if you're a faithful Mormon having an idea on how to change the church and fix it, yeah, oh, you got excommunicated. Yep, Natasha Helfer, Jeremy Runnels, the list goes on. They're stalking him to excommunicate Mormons who are unfaithful on his channel. And I warn you, and you don't listen. So yeah, see, for me, I don't interview people. I'll expose people. But no, instead, they stalk my viewing so that they can ban women for doing videos on YouTube because they're women. And they think they're hurting me. No, you're hurting them. They're not Mormon, you dumbasses. YouTube is supposed to be designed based on the United States Constitution's rights, not the church's rights. Of evil. So yeah. Mormons are not standing up to this church anymore. I don't get it. Why? You had them by the balls with Protect LDS Children, and then you quit? So, this is what I see coming. 3 Nephi chapter 7, which was supposed to be in 2020. It's talking about the overthrow of the government and how the election in 2020 was never supposed to produce a result. The presidential candidates would not be able to be chosen to be president. Neither one of them. And there's a usurper who wants to overthrow the United States Constitution of Mosiah. It's coded, remember? And so Trump ran in 2020, but it was his second time. See, they are talking about a situation where there would be no president voted for, which means that 2020, the president would be brand new. And this is where Mitt Romney failed them. Mitt Romney was supposed to beat Obama in 2012. He didn't. People want a black man rather than a Mormon. And so Mitt Romney would have been finishing his second term and would therefore not be president. He would not be running for president. And so enter Trump for his first time in 2020 instead of 2016. But it may not have been Trump, because everybody thinks that the Obama's speech of comedy, where Trump was in attendance, and Obama makes fun of Trump, and Trump is angry. That's what everybody assumes is the reason why Trump wanted to become president, even though, no, when he went to Russia, that's where they compromised him. But the Church of Jesus Christ have been following him, and they know that he's a pedophile, left with the Epstein files, and blah, 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 so they know how to control him. And so working with the secret combination group of the Council for National Policy, they selected Trump for 2016. So whether he would have been chosen for 2020, maybe. But that was supposed to be the case, is that the 2020 election was two brand new candidates because the president served 2 terms. And because of the assassination of the Supreme Court Justice, which may have been Oaks, or it may have been Oaks as the assassin of the Supreme Court Justice. But if Oaks had gotten in when he did, he would be the chief judge. And so there was going to be an assassination in government of SCOTUS. And that would throw the whole government into confusion and cause panic and riots and we're being cooed, Mormons! And then everybody would come to Utah and section 101 verse 51 that Joseph Smith expanded upon in July 1840 that Brigham Young was upset with because Joseph Smith called him out as the one who was going to do it in the latter days. And so the states, being equally divided between MAGA and Antifa, were going to go it alone. Federal government falls. Every state for themselves. Tribes. And thus, America falls. All from the 2020 election. And so verse 9, the one who was running for president to overthrow the Constitution is a man called Jacob in this text. In Hebrew, it's usurper. Now the secret combination which had brought so great iniquity upon the people did gather themselves together, and did place at their head a man whom they did call Jacob, just like in the Civil War. People refused to acknowledge the President of the United States and the Confederacy. They formed a secret combination government, an insurrection coup, and a civil war. Remember, it was a test run. And they put at their head of the Confederacy their presidential choice. I don't remember the guy's name, doesn't matter at the moment. This is what they're talking about here. The Civil War was a test run for 2020's election. And instead, they changed it to a test run because things didn't work out as they planned it to. And so, they called him their king. Trump claimed to be king. Therefore, he became king over this wicked band. And he was one of the chiefest among them who had given his voice against the prophets who testified of Jesus. Do you see Mitt Romney and how he plays a role here? The church is the prophets, even though they're false and they're causing all this, testifying of Jesus. This is how they're altering the Book of Mormon. See, the Book of Mormon is their plot, but they found out that the Book of Mormon is the plot. And so they're using it by turning it into literal history so that Mormons won't know, and they know. And so, yes, Mitt Romney was the guy. And his term is up. He's out. And so Trump steps up and says, we need a stronger GOP to save America, make America great again. The Mormons are evil. And you would have had all of the claims that Romney was just a puppet for the church, doing the church's will during all that time, rather than what they did to Obama. Mitt Romney, he's not even American. His birth certificate says he's from Kenya. Which was the Obama speech that angered Trump. This is what they had altered it to because they found out that the Book of Mormon is their plot. And because it's coded, they just turned it literal history, and thus they can keep their plot in place. That's why they wrote it this way, because they knew the enemy may find them, and they needed to keep the Book of Mormon to warn people. So this was brilliant. It worked. And it didn't work, because Mormons don't see it. And it came to pass that they were not so strong in number as the tribes of the people. Yeah. Trump's first inauguration attendance. And then his second one held in the Rotunda. Even less people. Nobody likes the administration. We're united, save it were their leaders, let's see, who established their laws, everyone according to his tribe. So yeah, every governor doing their own thing for their state. That's what I've been telling you ever since Trump's second coming, is that states have to run the state on their own. They're not listening. They weren't doing it. That's why Trump failed. was supposed to shut down the government, to force the states to run the state themselves. And thus, Utah running the state themselves, oh, the church gets it. They run it. Zion. Ta-da! Deseret 2.0. The second coming of Jesus. The temple was supposed to be finished in 2024. Oops. Lots of failures on their part. Nevertheless, they were enemies. Yeah. You're MAGA. You're Antifa. But they were united in their hatred of Trump, who entered into a covenant and destroyed the federal government. They don't want the other party to run the government, and so they just called it quits, and every state for themselves. Therefore, Jacob, seeing that their enemies were more numerous than they, he being the king of MAGA, therefore, Trump commanded his people that they should flee into the northernmost part of the land. Canada, the 51st state? He's down south in the Florida Panhandle, where Mar-a-Lago is. And there he built up his own kingdom, united by his people, who don't want to be a part of the old and busted GOP states, who definitely don't want nothing to do with Antifa states. And so, an exodus of followers of Trump down to Florida, to Mar-a-Lago. For he flattered them that there would be many dissenters, and they became sufficiently strong to contend with the people. And so yes, Trump rebuilding an army to go up against America, to take it by force. But he was able to flee D.C. quick enough to get away with it. And Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida took him in as refuge, being a part of his merry band. And so Florida would have been the one MAGA state. So everybody who wants to be MAGA has to come to Florida. And thus ended the 30th year, and thus were the affairs of the people. That's the Jewish calendar that they're using there, because the election failure is January 20th. January 20th comes and failure. And so he's using the Jewish calendar for the religion, not the civil calendar. And so this year, Nisan is on Thursday, which is the 19th of March. So the 18th would have been the last day, so thus ended, but it would be for 2020, 21. And then climate disaster occurs, and then 3rd Nephi 11, this is what the church had planned for 2020. Screw the length of the video. Nobody's going to watch it anyway. I don't know. Why do I waste my time? So after the destruction of America, the fall of the government, this is 2024. This is 4 years later than 2020's election. This is Revelation 19. This is April 2024 solar eclipse. That's the sign of the death. And this is what the church had planned, is that death and destruction, civil war, the fall of the government, transferring authority to the church. So the church is thinking Utah, that the Salt Lake Temple is the temple that Jesus will suddenly come to, the land bountiful. Now it came to pass that there was a great multitude gathered together of Mormons. This is when the church would have their kingdom. And those who want to be Mormon would then have to make their own way. Church ain't going to do it. They may do the perpetual immigration fund again to put you into slavery. And sex trafficking for polygamy. But round about the Salt Lake Temple that is finished for April Conference 2024 in the land of Utah. And they're all, wow, yeah, church is so true. We're saved. We're the righteous ones. Everybody else who died are apostates. But there would be a purge during these 4 years of Section 119. And so, yes, then the AI video that I did yesterday about how the church is reintroducing themselves. This would have been 2024. Instead, now they've bumped it up to 2030, I guess. After the Salt Lake Temple's year-long open house. Shutting down the streets for only 1.3 million. And so, yeah, let's go over Section 119 for you to scare you, or you're going to be so stupid that you'll want this. It's law of consecration for the millennium. Hello, temple? Shh, don't tell. The kingdom. And so it's not 10% anymore. So this part is old and busted. It's now everything. Everything with which the Lord has blessed you with, or which he may bless you with, to the church and kingdom. Everything goes to the church. They only give you back for a minimal subsistence so that you can keep being a slave to them. That's their economy in Zion. And so, it came to pass that all those who gather, 3 Nephi 11, to the land of Zion shall follow the law of consecration, or you will not be found worthy to stay in Utah. They will purge you. And the law of polygamy, chastity. If my people observe not this law to keep it holy, and by this law sanctify Utah, really money sanctifies, huh? That my statutes and my judgments may be kept thereon. Prostitution, remember? Law of chastity, tithing equals prostitution. Sex trafficking, rape of little girls. That it may be most holy. Yeah, Mary was a chosen vessel of the Lord as a 14-year-old girl. It shall not be a land of Zion unto you. This shall be the example and sample for everybody. This is what they're planning on doing and how they're going to run it. They're failing. Trump was supposed to purge Utah with ICE to kick out the Antifa. And oops, he failed. And oops, we got a new map district for the midterms. And Utah's GOP MAGA have been putting people out, getting petitions signed to overthrow the new map. So when I got my new driver's license, there was a guy out front taking petitions, and he said it was for keeping the new map that is not gerrymandered. But I nevertheless kept asking him. So this is for the map that the judge ordered to stop the gerrymandering. And he kept saying, yeah, sign. And then I hear from the news the other day, that there are some bad actors who are getting people to sign to return the map, to rig it in Utah for MAGA. If they tricked me into signing for the old map, bleep you. I publicly denounce my signature if that's the case. And so, yeah, I also heard yesterday also that Cox signed into law 2 more Supreme Court justices for Utah because they haven't been ruling correctly. And so obviously he's going to recommend some loyalists to try to overthrow the map and other stuff. So yes, we've got some problems here in Utah that are coming. But you need to see it from the church's perspective, not what you're seeing, not what they're allowing you to believe in. Because what's going to happen is nowhere near what we're currently doing, but they're setting it up for it. And it's not going to happen exactly because they failed. They ran a test run in 2020 instead. Oops. And so, yeah, with the contractors for the temple screwing them over for more money, delaying it until 2027, and then 2030 for the reinvention, because this year Trump is doing the celebration of America. He has to have it all destroyed before then, so that he can do his parade thing with the military, having conquered America. And he doesn't have much time left. He's getting exposed. His masters of puppets are upset with him, and they're letting the Epstein files get leaked to remind him to hurry up. And so, yeah, now he's taking his time. The government shut down, though, but other stuff got through. But he needs to hurry. He can't have the 250th anniversary as a failure and then go into the midterms not giving Americans money this time, saying that if you vote for me, then I'll give you money. Yeah, that ain't gonna fly. Obviously, it hasn't worked. Trump needs to bribe the people. He won't do it. He's not doing it this time. So, but yeah, everything is to purge the United States, to turn it into MAGA. You know, Antifa just lays down and dies, yeah, okay. Nazi America, great, we fell. The enemy of mankind. But the church may or may not be able to get their kingdom back. So we're in uncharted territory because they ran a test run in 2020. But the template still shows you what they're up to. And so in the beginning, it was a national divorce. The second coming was get rid of Antifa, cause a civil war that way. To have everybody gerrymander their states to be full Antifa or full MAGA.